Hi, and welcome to Two CPAs and the Mic, the podcast where we talk tax, finance, and all things related to business. Whether you're a business owner, working professional, or someone who wants to start a career in accounting, this is the podcast for you. Hosted by CCK Strategies partners Jeff Frable and Sarah Mays, we dive into relevant business and tax matters with working professionals to make these topics less intimidating, relatable, and dare we say fun? Let's get down to business.
Welcome to this week's episode of Two CPAs and the Mic. We are so glad you joined us today. It is an amazing day, and we have another amazing episode. If you have not joined us before, we are covering relevant business and tax topics, but we're doing it in a way that applies straight talk, authentic communication, practical information, maybe some humor here and there, but most of all, we do not have the jargon and stuffiness that's normally associated with our profession. I am Jeff Frable, a partner with CCK Strategies, as usual. And as usual I know all of our listeners are like, is Sarah back? And
I'm back.
Sarah is back. Today is a monumental day. We have our first time with a grandparent co-host.
Yes.
And so, Sarah, where in the heck are you today?
I cannot quit cheesing, guys. It is so many feelings. It's wild. All of the feelings that you feel, and just knowing that you've watched your kid have a baby and then get to watch them be parents. And part of it's just like me and Robert, and Wyatt's mom is also here, Cindy, and we just kind of sometimes just sit back and chuckle and be like, ha ha ha, you got to do it too. So it is great. But at the same time, just your eyes just fill with tears, or you get a little lump in your throat because it's just so amazing. So amazing. Well, I could talk all day about it.
I know. We should have in June, we will have a grandparent episode.
Yes.
He's coming, but it's an amazing time for our families. Sarah, your grandchild's come. Mine is coming. Plus this week, we are going to celebrate my daughter, and she's going to finish her doctorate. And so we are amazingly proud of her. I mean, think about it. It's been like 12 years of school.
Right?
So,
yes.
I don't know how you go that long, but you do. And our oldest, she's very, very special. So yeah, we've got a lot going on. And I know Christy is going to be traveling and sharing some time with her kiddos. And so it's a good time to be alive, and it's a good time to have a family. So as I mentioned, also in studio today is our on-air producer, KP. What's up, KP?
Hey, I'm here. I'm glad Sarah's back. And I just am so excited about today, you guys. So all good. All good.
It is. We're going to have a little bit different topic today. Today, we're going to be talking about recruiting. We're talking about hiring, talent acquisition. I mean, if you are a business owner and you're getting ready to put on your shoes and go for a walk or a run, you definitely want to be listening, because we're going to be talking about how this isn't just HR. Could be a difference maker in your organization if you have the right team. If you have, I'll say this cliche just this one time, if you have the right people sitting in the right spots on the bus. If you are in the profession, you definitely want to be listening also from whether you're new or seasoned, because we're going to cover all of that. And Christy, this is kind of your old stomping grounds. You used to be in our recruiting department, and you've done it for years. And today's another amazing special episode, because it's the first time we're doing two other guests on the mic. So we have two other teammates with us. And Christy, I'm going to just turn it over to you, because you will do the best job introducing and taking this forward. So go for it.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited to introduce our two amazing teammates, Kusumika Ganguly and Carolyn McGuire. Kusumika and Carolyn make up our talent acquisition team. I could sit and brag on you for the whole podcast, so I'm going to let you guys both tell us a little bit more about you. Kay, for those who don't know, who is Kusumika? And tell us, would you rather go by Kusumika or Kay?
Hello, everybody. I'm Kusumika. I want to go by Kay, but I know people call me Kusumika behind my back. So
And they
it.
probably get it wrong
Awesome.
too.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think they love calling me Kusumika. It has a nice vibe to it.
Yes, I
But
love your name.
Yeah, but I would prefer K because it's more simple, but doesn't matter as long as I'm K, Kusumika, both. So I did my master's in human resources. I started my career with recruiting, and then I was with PwC in HR for audit and tax. And then I moved to the US. That's when, there was a big shift, in my family. I dabbed my hands in entrepreneurship, a little bit of social media. And then I found my home in CCK. Christopher found me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yes. That's so great.
Yeah, 3.5 years back, I started my journey with CCK. It's been great so far. I started as a recruiting specialist, but now I lead the recruiting team, the talent acquisition team here, and Carolyn is my teammate. So yeah, I'm so excited to be a part of this conversation.
Well, we're just thrilled that you're here. We are so thrilled you're here. Carolyn, great lead in K, by the way. Carolyn McGuire, who is Carolyn? And tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish that I went by C. It would be more fun for our teams.
Love it.
C.
You can
Secretly,
call me
we do.
C.
We call you C behind your
you
back.
can call me Carolyn, just don't call me Caroline. So,
Right.
Okay.
Sweet
Okay.
Caroline.
Okay.
which is totally fair. I'm Carolyn McGuire, and yes, that was a great intro, Kay. I have been at CCK about 2.5 years. Funny anecdote, Kay and I have the same start date, just 1 year apart. So I can always remember my boss's start date now.
Oh.
So I started my career, I've done a couple of different things, but I actually started in recruiting firm or staffing agency, as more people kind of know them as. So that was a really great way to start my career and understand this whole craziness that is recruiting. I did that for several years, and then I moved into more of sales role for personality assessments. So I was selling a solution for a lot of times hiring, as well as the other components of development. So I thought that was really interesting. I really enjoyed that. Kind of pivoted back into recruiting internally at a different company. So I was a corporate recruiter for about 2 years. And then I came on board at CCK, and I've been here about 2.5 years, and it's been amazing.
You guys both bring such a wealth of experience, so different from just having, well, I've done this and I've done that. You guys are so talented. And I think you are the example of CCK recruitment. We bring talent to the table, not just awesome people, but people who have multiple tools in their tool belt. And you both bring those out so beautifully here. So just to frame the episode, you guys, we're going to look into the world of recruiting from multiple perspectives. Number one, we're going to how to find talent that fits your company culture and meet your business needs. That's kind of the, can you really have your cake and eat it too kind of question. And then we'll also chat about the unique approaches to recruiting both seasoned professionals and those who are just starting out, people who are students or really early in their career. We cover the gamut. So again, icebreaker, Kay, I'm going to start with you. When did you realize recruiting isn't just filling the roles? It's more of shaping a culture.
I think I realized this, when I figured that how much one hire can change the team for better or worse. So I think every hiring decision that shapes the culture, whether we're intentional about it or not. And I think I would say the early talent or experienced professional, they have different approaches, but ultimately the goal is the same. It's basically alignment.
Ooh, good word.
That's a good word.
We love that word here.
So skills can be taught, but value, curiosity, how people show up on a daily basis, that is what you just come with it. Yeah. So that's what recruiting actually shapes the organization, getting the right person for it.
Awesome. You're just speaking my love language. Right. Carolyn, we're going to break some more ice. What is only one misconception that people have about your side of recruiting?
Only one. I had a couple of good ones.
Okay, you can go. Go ahead and do how many you want. Go, girl.
Here are the two I hear most often. So on one side, I think people think recruiters are just using an applicant tracking system, what we call an ATS, to kick out resumes or move resumes along, that there's essentially AI or some sort of technology that is doing the work for us. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Kay and I are looking at everyone that applies. We were reviewing their credentials, their resume. We are looking, a human is reviewing that. So that's one that I hear that people think we just kind of automate that, and we really don't. On the other side, I think some people think because it's on social media or we advertise it that all we do is go to career fairs or we go to different networking events, and must be so fun being a recruiter. Yeah, it is fun. And I like that part of my job, but that is just one facet of what we do. And so sometimes on the other end of the spectrum, people think, oh, you're just out meeting people, shaking hands, going to career fairs. And it is essential, but it is only one piece of what we do. And there's so much behind the scenes and so much work in between that people don't see.
I think what I would say is the staff or the team loves seeing those recruiting seminars or those recruiting events with you and some of our other teammates, because it's like, oh, I'm glad they got to go out to a college campus today and have lots of fun talking to people.
It is. I love it. It's fun to see it.
It's almost as popular as a golf tournament.
See, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum on that. I am not a recruiter or recruiting event fan at all. It's a lot. It's overwhelming having to, So,
that's why we have special teammates to do it.
That's 100. It is. 100. And that's where Carolyn and Kay are both the experts at identifying where people get their energy and who is the best, again, alignment. Who's going to align best with this event?
Christy, the one thing I wanted to say a couple minutes ago when we were talking about Kay and Carolyn, Caroline. Sorry.
Oh, don't, because then we're all going to start calling her that.
I know. I'm sorry. So one of the things that's really cool about this is Kay started 3.5 years ago. She was a very strategic hire from a culture perspective because she was one of our first to hire down in the Frisco office as far as like I wouldn't necessarily call it a department head or a division leader, but someone with that type of role, that type of responsibility. Although we had partners down in Frisco, she was one of our more early hires to kind of what I would say is even out the offices, not only Tulsa, but also in Frisco. And since that time, we've started to fill out other positions there. So I think that's a really cool transition with the firm.
Totally agree. And Kay was the strategy with Kay, not only just having Tulsa at the time, having a more populous body, but Frisco was our newest office. If you looked at the two recruiters at the time, it was Kusumika and me. And the way we execute are on opposite ends of the spectrum. So the balance there was really cool and how it played off because we both inserted our talents and really, I think, brought a pretty big variety when we were working together. And I think that's exactly what Kay and Carolyn do too. They bring that synergy together because they view the world so differently and they work so harmoniously together. Okay, you guys, I'm just going to jump into it. Kay. Let's talk about recruiting experienced professionals. Let's talk about that. When you look at people who, and Carolyn, I think we're going to hit this one with you. When you look at experienced professionals, what's the separator between someone who might be technically strong from someone who might be a cultural addition?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I will say something about us at CCK Strategies. We want both. We want it all. So we are always looking for candidates that are both a culture fit and have that strong technical ability. So it does make things a little more difficult. So as we are talking to candidates in that first conversation, we actually call it the introduction, right? We are introducing CCK Strategies as a firm and they are introducing themselves. So we want to keep it light. We don't want it to feel overly formal in that way. So we are assessing more from a high level, that culture fit. We are getting to know them and suss out some of those kind of high level skills, but we are looking at that piece. And if we can get the inkling that they could be that culture fit and they have that experience that's relevant, they have the desire to be at a firm like CCK, we really talk about how we differentiate ourselves. That next step in the process is really the more technical interview with the team. But we have learned over time through divisions and through talking to a lot of candidates, we can kind of start to see is there some of that technical ability? And not everybody has both, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But with our standards, we really look for folks that can both deliver technically, but are going to be that cultural addition and that culture add.
So, Kay, dovetailing on the question to Carolyn about experienced professionals, when you're talking to people who have more experience, I'll just ask, what are some of the red flags that show up more often in the more experienced level?
Yeah, at experience level, I think the red flags are more subtle. They don't call out that loud. And
maybe pinkish.
Yes, pinkish, actually.
Okay. Pink.
Orangish. I like to call it orangish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Orangish.
Orangish.
From Texas.
Love.
Burnt orange.
Yeah. I think they are not about capability. It's more about the mindset.
Oh, okay. Go, girl. Let's hear it.
It's like, I often hear about something. Sometimes they'll talk about it's not about what they have done, but how they have done it. And they don't talk about that or with whom they have done it. So, if you ask them about some past experiences, they'll tell you, oh, this is what I've done. But, when you don't find them including the team or saying, this is how I have done it, especially for experienced hires.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a very subtle orangish red flag, I would say.
Yeah.
Because I think as experienced hires or leaders, that's important.
Oh,
right.
Big time. I hear something between what Carolyn and Kay both said, you guys, and I'm sure Jeff and Sarah, with our high dependency on collaboration in our firm, they both talked about the team. They both brought that culture aspect in where it's trying to find both, and they have practiced long and hard for their listening cues. Did you guys pick up on that?
Yeah. It's not just the way you do. It's not just what you know. It's the way you do it. And it kind of reminds me of our last episode with Josh Juarez. Josh is he's the king of the snow cones in Tulsa. And he talked about interviewing these, 15 to 21 year olds. And he said that they would just have 4 of them come in and they'd have this informal conversation. And what he's listening for is, how do you do it? In what manner? How do you work with teammates? Do you take over? Are you a team player? And so I really respect our teammates that have that ability to listen and interpret and understand, because I don't have that that gift or talent for sure.
Carolyn, when I was in recruitment, I can remember some of the things. When I would see someone who has some experience under the belt, I would look at longevity. So when you're looking at experienced candidates, how do you determine if you see a lot of jobs on a resume or on LinkedIn or wherever you're sourcing, how do you determine what's job hopping and other?
Yeah, Christy, this is so important. It is such a great question because it is something we see quite a bit. And it's something that we need to understand. So for me, it's about their ability as a candidate to tell the story of their career. It's very important that they can articulate their reasons why they have left their different positions if there is a larger number. There are a lot of things for a candidate that go into play for that, right? Their spouse might have gotten a job in a new city and they've had to relocate. They might be a part of a company that's had a reduction in force. There are lots of different things, especially the last 5 to 6 years, right? We saw a lot of changes due to COVID. So to me, what's more important is that the candidate can articulate their story of how they got to where they are now, what those transitions look like, and the rationale. And I think people being able to articulate that is essential. If they aren't able to do that, then that is going to be a big detractor in the interview process.
Carolyn, do you have people that in the interview time that would actually take that head on and maybe say, I know you're probably going to ask me about this. I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to discuss it. Do people do that, or do they wait to be asked?
Yes, I have had that, and I respect it because I think they know, especially if you've interviewed, numerous times, that this is going to be a question. This is going to be brought up. I firmly believe in bringing it head on. I think that's important. Again, articulate your story, help us understand, and we, as the recruiter, we're an intermediary. We can help then that division leader, that hiring manager, understand that story as well. So yes, sometimes people have done that, and I highly encourage that because it is going to be brought up.
But are you also listening for tone and in their delivery too? Because are they sounding cocky in their story versus humble in how they say?
Yes, Kay said something earlier that's true. I pick up on, is every job that you leave because somebody else was the problem? That's a big one.
Yeah.
If it's always somebody else was the problem and you left for that reason, that's not an orange flag. That's a red flag.
Yes, agreed.
Just to clarify. Thank you.
Do you ever get in these conversations when you're looking at dates and go, oh, I see you left this public accounting firm in March of such and such. Ooh. Please tell me why that is.
So we kind of do it more and help me understand this transition, or help me understand it's, you have to use kind of language because you don't want to lead them too much. You want them to tell their story. So it's kind of a dance. I want to get that information, but I want to see how you present it.
Good job. Kay, you mentioned leadership earlier when we were talking in the beginning. So let's go back to that. How do you tell if the candidate has the kind of leadership your team needs that aligns not only with the job description, but also with big picture, the firm goals, the vision?
Yeah, thanks, Christy. I think we always talk about this in CCK, walking the walk and talking the talk. So basically, you practice what you preach. And it's important how the leaders or any experience or anybody in the leadership position, they articulate where they're trying to take the team or they're trying to take the business. Because when Jeff mentioned, when I joined CCK in Frisco, we actually did not have any partner, just to be sure. So there was.
That's true. That's true. If
Dewan was managing director.
Yeah. He was actually a PM.
He
was a PM.
Oh, yes,
that's right. He was like a TL. Yeah,
team lead. Team leader,
team
PM.
Lead.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember Caleb was in the office and he moved the sheets because we were under construction.
Caleb is one of our partners.
Our partners, yeah.
Right.
And so he was visiting the Frisco office and he moved the sheets and he welcomed me when I rang the bell, and I was like, oh, that's a funny story. Yeah. But ever since then, whenever we have hired somebody in a leadership position in Frisco, that is something we always want to see. We go back to the great goals every time and see if they demonstrate those traits over and over again, whether they are goal oriented in a meaningful way, whether they are really invested in helping others grow. Very important. And so I think those are the kind of persons I would say, and those are the kind of leaders that we need in CCK.
So Kate, talk to us about great. I know that we have that, but tell us, you mentioned, we use that word around here a lot, but it's actually more than just an adjective of exception. What is great at CCK?
So, of course,
this is also a test, by the way.
Oh, watch, she'll pass. I want colors.
But, jokes apart, of course, when we talk about great, I can, we have goal-oriented, results-driven, and encouraging others. Accountability, very important, being thoughtful. But the reason I want to mention these, it's just not a set of values or that CCK follows or something. I think all of these are very human, okay? And they're being very deliberate. And so even for our daily actions, even when we are talking to candidates, leaders, or even interns, we keep going back to this set of values. Whether they're showing these traits, these are almost like competencies and traits that we would want all our employees to have in some or the other. Of course, that's when they might not have all of them at the same level. We need some coachability, some coaching based on that. But we keep going back to these values. And I think we can actually have a whole episode on great.
Thank you. Great.
I think we do. It's episode 1 of season 1.
So, it is. So go back and listen. Go back and listen to episode 1, season 1.
And Kay, what I would piggyback on there is we have have listeners that are joining every episode. And so they may not know that GREAT is an acronym for our core values. And when we bring individuals in, new teammates in, whether they're an intern, full-time, part-time, or whatever, we have a great meeting where we go over the core values. And I've said for years that, and this kind of goes back to the question Christy was asked earlier about culture fit. And I would tell people, you can struggle technically, but have the core values under wraps, and you're going to do better than someone who's brilliant technically, but can't fit into the core values. And so, and I think you even said yourself earlier that you can teach these abilities,
Technical abilities.
the technical
piece.
abilities.
Yeah.
But the other ones are kind of hardwired at times. And so I'm sure you've had times where you had to make a decision based upon one or the other. And I'm assuming we went more with the culture fit than the technical.
Yep, we actually have, absolutely. And those are very tough decisions. So we have seen candidates who are extremely skilled. They have the technical knowledge, but we still had to let them go. Like, we were like, okay, no. And, I always give the example of a rotten apple in a basket. So when you have this entire team, that one hire, that one person can impact the team so good or so bad on both directions. And so it does not matter how skilled they are, actually. If we have learned that better, that, the culture is something that I think the trust, the morale, long-term success, all that can only come from those innate qualities. So yes, we try, if we see that the apple is rotten, it's better that we not have it.
You said that so sweet, Kay.
You really did.
Where I would have just said,
bye. I'm
I
sorry.
can deliver
You're
really
rotten
bad
apple.
news where they still feel really great about themselves. Thank you for that, Kay. You represent
she
us
has
so
that
well.
ability. The way that she talks, I'm like, she could tell me something bad, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Nice.
It's such the lovely way that she's.
Carolyn, we've all been there. Trust me. Yeah, we've all been on the other end of
Christy. I learned it from Christy, actually.
Oh, I don't know about that. You guys, before we change directions, we've been talking about culture, and we've also been talking about this environment of being a high performing environment and how we believe we can have our cake and eat it too. Off the script, does anyone want to kind of give a one-off of what is our culture? I mean, people think, oh, this nice, sweet place you work, everyone is so nice. I want to work there. But with your job comes an awful lot of responsibility to drive home that we are a high performing firm who have a lot of people counting on us to do great work and live up to a lot of integrity. It's tough.
Absolutely. I will say there's a reason there's the A of great, accountable. There is a high level of expectations. I like to talk to candidates very candidly that we obviously have this amazing culture, and I'm going to show you and talk to you all about this culture. But the reason we can have that is because we're collaborative, we're hardworking, we do the best we can for the client, that culture of care for our clients, for our team. You have to have both. You can't just have a great culture and people don't do what they need to get done. The reason we've grown organically for almost 30 years is because we do the best we can for our clients. So you do have to have both. And I'm candid with client or candidates because this is not just, oh, hey, we're great. We do the great meetings and we like each other and we go do philanthropy together. There's a lot more to it. And I think you have to have both.
That's awesome. That's just well said, because that is a tough balance. All right, you guys, let's turn the table a bit. Let's talk about recruiting for those who may not have as much experience under their belt or who may still be in college. So I'll start again, that stage in a person's career path. It's so much more or less about potential. Would you agree? And maybe more about the A word we've been talking about, alignment. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think so. When I'm talking to students or recent graduates, I'm really concerned with their ability to talk about that path. What are their goals? What are their aspirations? What do they want to achieve? And what do they want out of their career? And honestly, that sometimes they don't know exactly what they want. But if they can show, this is the path that I want to take, these are the things I'm interested in, this is where I think my strengths lie, this is what I've worked. Maybe I've worked to overcome this particular thing. I think that's really important. I like to think of it as, can an early career or a student articulate their why? Why did you choose the school that you did? Why did you go into accounting? Why do you want an internship within audit and assurance? Again, it always comes back to storytelling. And an experienced candidate can tell you a lot about where they've been, but for those early career, I want to know about where you want to go.
All right. So when you think about that, Carolyn, how does your approach change when you're interviewing someone right out of school and maybe, or someone who's in school and someone with just a little bit of experience? Because yes, both of these candidates are very early in their career, but they have a pretty different profile.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. They can actually now speak to what I call the real world. What I love about talking to college students or intern candidates is they're so fresh, they're so optimistic, which is amazing. And sometimes you talk to the early career individuals and they've had a little taste of life. They've had a little taste of in our industry.
Oh, yes.
Yes. In our industry, sometimes they've been lured to a larger firm or a company that has a lot of bells and whistles, if you will. And now they kind of are refining, thinking in the long term, this is what I want. This is, my passion, or these are the types of clients I want to work with. This is the type of exposure I want to get. So it is still, they have some of that optimism. They are still green in certain ways, but I think that they have a little bit more of a sense of where they want to go and maybe pivoting from something that they chose. And there's nothing wrong with choosing your first job out of college or your graduate program that's maybe not right for you long term. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to recognize that and to pivot.
So are there any qualities or skill sets that stand out to you with someone who's early in their career?
I've always looked at balance in college and school. What are they doing? I am always impressed by accountants that are working full time or completing a master's program, studying for the
or raising a family.
And I think that I almost can't think of another industry where people balance so well. And candidly, the firm environment may not be for you if that's not what you want to do. And so the way that they've been able to do that, I've talked to students that work full time while they go to school, and I admire that immensely. And I think that takes a lot of grit as well. And so I definitely would not choose somebody for that reason. In fact, it's probably more of a reason that I would move forward with them.
So when we talk about firm environment, we really are talking about public accounting, consulting firms. That's pretty different than, say, corporate accounting or what we call in our world industry. And so just for our listeners, I think that it's important that if you're earlier in your career or if you're a student, Carolyn's words of wisdom are really just gold, liquid gold. So drink it up because she speaks wisdom. There you go. All right. So I want to keep going, you guys. Kay, I want to talk about how you're processing when you're evaluating potential versus experience. And a lot of that comes with you're looking at the person, you're listening. A lot of that comes to how coachable is this person? Because let's use the example that you guys used before. Someone may have been in public accounting before, but they switched to a new environment. They have to detox a little bit, or they have to up their game, whatever it is to manage that change. From your perspective, Kay, what does coachability actually look like?
So I think coachability is, in one word, the part that happens after feedback, after you get a feedback. That's when it starts. So I have met people with 20 years of experience, but totally uncoachable. And then there are interns, like early talent people, with a fraction of that experience, but they are extremely coachable. So I think for experienced hires, it shows up as humility, that, they are willing to unlearn as much as they learn while they go in the process and just not making a change. The red flag here would be defensiveness. I know it all. I have been in the system for a long time, stuff like that. But when they are talking about their past experiences, you can actually realize that if you've spent like 15 days with them, whether they're coachable or not. Yeah. When it comes to experienced hires, for newbies, I would say somebody who's early on their career, I would say taking ownership, when you see them taking ownership of their career. So straight A students receive a lot of review notes and then they get overwhelmed. They get demotivated and they don't know what to do with the feedback. So I think if we find that they accept the feedback, they ask the correct questions, they ask the right questions, they have the drive to navigate their career, what they want to do with it, and they move on to the next challenge. So that ownership that'll show a lot of coachability actually in early talent, I would say.
Sarah, tell us what she means by notes and feedback.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's talking about a workflow in tax. Can you speak into that?
Yeah. And actually, it's kind of something similar, I think, even across all of public accounting, not just for tax too. Like we have and every firm has a quality control process. So it is really more about, hey, you took a first pass at at a tax return or an audit work paper, and somebody with more experience and is going through and quote unquote detail reviewing your work and leaving you notes like, hey, we need to do this. We need to make this tweak. We need to change this presentation on the tax return. Oh, your Excel formula is actually wrong. You need to add this, subtract this, all those things. So it's really, and to Kay's point, it's really how well do you take that feedback? Or, and I'll be honest with you, we've had some people come in and they'll flip a table just dang near, because they're so upset with themselves.
Correct.
Yes, high performing, hard on themselves. Yep.
And that is actually okay, but it's how because everybody's first response
is how you flip the table? Is it?
Yes. Did you flip it like a magician and everything still landed perfectly back when you flipped it? But it's really about how do you take that and are you learning from it? Or are you just being a robot and doing I'm going to do it for this thing, but I'm not going to apply it to my next one or my next one, the next one. Or on the flip side of that, like how defensive are they too when they receive those notes? But my question to you guys is, what are some of the things that you're looking for in the interview that kind of identify how people react to different situations? Or, are you asking for a story? It's something from their past that they can reflect on and how did they learn from that? Or because, you guys are talking to them for comparatively to their work history, a short amount of time. Like, how are you filtering through all of that?
I could speak to the intern level, and I think Kay can speak more to the experience level. But what I look for in interns, a lot of times it's the questions they're asking when I'm talking to them. Are they asking, what does success look like for an intern? What are the things that we're going to do? What have you found that someone is successful in the role? What do they do? That to me kind of shows some of that coachability. And I always talk about, I don't care what a division it is. It can be tax. It can be audit. Are you curious? Are you inquisitive? Are you seeking to understand? And are you taking that feedback? Because if you don't have those qualities, if you want to come in, sit behind your spreadsheet and talk about how much you know about accounting principles, it's just not going to work. So some of those questions that they ask, and I talk about that environment and I tell them, you have to be open and curious, and that's going to lead to success. You can kind of gauge whether they're like, yeah, that's great. That's what I'm looking for. Or if they're like, oh, okay, good to know.
Nice. Okay.
I think for experienced hires, it's the same thing. It's very similar. The questions that they ask, very important. But I think you do try and see how many times throughout their career have they transitioned, if they had like a technology change in their firm, a lot of times that happens, and how we ask them the stories. So they're going to talk about how agile they were through that process, or how they were able to engage others, or what are the problems that they faced, whether they even faced any problem at all. So,
that's a red
those
flag.
Stories. Yeah, exactly. I had nothing. It was so smooth. Fly.
Right.
Game. Yeah. So, of course, that's something which we'll talk about a little more about if they are coachable. But not that we can hear that out loud. Like I said, it's a little subtle when they're experienced. But those are, because we talk to them for about 30 to 40 minutes and we cover a lot of information. So those are some of the things that we try and listen
for. Yeah. Nice. Okay.
So we've hit big picture. We've talked to anyone who's listening who may be an experienced job seeker candidate, someone who doesn't know, but they're really interested in learning more about CCK. Or we've also talked to the student, someone who's young. Now let's go behind the curtain. We would like to know about anyone who's interested in CCK or just our process. because we have a really great process. One of you please walk us through what we do at CCK and how it serves us well. Kay, you want to take that one?
Sure. So yeah, of course, we start by sourcing the resumes from different channels.
How do you do that? Where do you find this talent?
Okay, so of course, we have an ATS. We use something called Paylocity, and when candidates apply on the website, the resumes come directly to us. We also search, there's LinkedIn recruiters, so candidates apply there. Of course, there are passive searches that we make from everywhere.
So people who aren't looking, you guys will just go and just drop in and start chatting with them?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're interested to have that conversation sometimes, not willing to make a change, but they want to hear. They're like, okay, let's hear your story. Let's hear CCK
So
story.
proactive. I love it. It's so proactive.
Yeah. And sometimes we've actually made the best hires out of those passive candidates because they are not ready to make a move, but so their move is not provoked by something that's not happening in their current job, but that's actually want to make a move because they found alignment with their goals and with that of CCK.
Okay.
So yeah, anyway, so we find the resumes. Of course, we do a resume screening. And then the first step is usually talking to either me or Carolyn. That's when we gather the information. We send it to the hiring hiring managers. And that's when they do a technical interview, which is, of course, a deep dive on their technical skills. If that goes well, we do an assessment. It's called persona metrics assessment for full-time hires, actually. And then we follow up that with a partner or a division leader round. Usually for experienced hires or a little more senior level, we do an additional technical interview, which we try to do it maybe in a casual setup, maybe in another environment, like a coffee shop, or let's just take a walk, something like that. But we do add on that additional step. Of course, we negotiate and we offer. They accept the offer, then we run a background check, and then the ball gets rolling. Yeah.
All right. It's pretty thorough. So thoughtful steps throughout the recruitment process. So what about the candidates who may not be in the office with you? Does it change for people who we're talking to in a remote environment?
One thing I would like to add here is, usually what we try to do is one of the rounds that I just spoke about, we try and do at least one of them in the office.
Okay.
So we usually, because that actually tells both of us about team dynamics, about the office environment. Now, to your question, Christy, when we are hiring somebody who's remote or for a remote environment, we usually do all these steps virtually. But when we are almost sure that, okay, this is the right person, we do try and invite this person in the office. It is extremely important that in-person touch, even when we're making the hire. We don't change the process as such, but we try and we generally meet people where they are, of course.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
So thoughtful.
But we try and see if we can do at least one of the rounds, at least meet them once. Yeah. Even if it may not be in the office, like I said, it can be a different environment. But because that makes absolute sense and that creates a big difference.
Yeah. So let's say you got the win. I'll liken it to business development, like I do everything, business development. Let's say you win. If it were Sarah and I talking, we would say, great, we won it. We won. That's phenomenal. They're a client. With us, when we celebrate Kay and Carolyn, we talk about, oh, great, they accepted our offer. Awesome. Their background check. And we love to celebrate, but that's when the real work begins. That's when the onboarding process begins. Carolyn, what does that look like?
Yeah, and you're exactly right, Christy. I'm superstitious that I'm like, until they walk in that first day, it's not official. But there is, to your point, there's a lot of work behind the scenes to get to that first day. So we are part of HR. We are working with our teammates. We are working with that division. Our divisions are really great. They have internal folks that are really over that training and onboarding as well. So everybody is invested in this person and making them successful. So a lot of work is going on behind the scenes before they even walk in that first day. But once we do, we want them to feel welcome. They usually have a lunch schedule, with team or leadership. I am lucky enough I get to give them a tour of our office if it's in Tulsa. Kusumika does that down in Frisco. So we really want people to feel welcomed. And we want from day one, that first impression to be the best. So we're working behind the scenes. We're working with those teams. We're making sure everything is as seamless as possible. And Kay has put a lot of effort into that from a recruiting perspective. So that is very seamless as we grow across our 2 offices.
You guys make the process sound so thoughtful. And I'm so grateful that for all the hard work that goes into sourcing candidates, to walking them through our rigorous recruiting process, and then to all of the entire team who makes the day one and the entire onboarding process so intentional, making it very human. I'm going to use the word you used at the very beginning, Kay, that it's very human. And like humans, we are not perfect. We don't claim to be perfect. Our process isn't perfect, but we hope that with every new person we meet, we're just getting a little bit better. Just last question, debunking the myth. We've been talking about public accounting. So how do you help people understand that we're more than just a bunch of, or if we're recruiting for accounting?
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Jeff,
It's
I have
offensive.
to. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Close my ears.
Okay. That we're more than the stereotypical CPA. How about that?
Is
that better. Okay?
That's
Is that better? I learned that from Kay earlier, by the way. It wasn't a direct insult. It was a really soft launch.
Right.
How do you help people understand that we're more than your stereotypical public accounting firm and stiff accountants?
So of course, I start by the story, with CCK story. And we tell them how we help the business owners to make decisions, that affect real people. So of course, we are more like trusted advisors, where we lock our arms with the business owners.
Yes, my love language, lady. Good.
Yeah, I got it right. So you know what? I think we are more like therapists and trusted advisors with the spreadsheets.
Okay.
That should go on a t-shirt or something.
Yes,
I know.
Yeah.
And therapist with a spreadsheet.
There you go. On that note, you guys, we could sit and talk about this for days, but I would love to hand it over to Sarah or Jeff to kind of close us out. Is there anything you guys would like to add?
I don't, other than the fact that I truly appreciate my teammates that have this gift, because like you said, I've been with the firm so long that I remember when the interviews used to be with like the partners, and then we transitioned to a situation where the partner would meet the new teammate on the same day, just like everybody else. And so again, it's another situation where we allow our teammates with the gifts and talents to operate where they're for their highest and best use, and not only use, but their gifts and their talents. Because if I always tell people, if I come away from an interview and I don't like someone, you better not hire them, because I like everybody. So,
it's true. That's why Jeff was never allowed to sit in on interviews.
That's right.
Jeff.
But Sarah, do you have any closing thoughts? Because if not, I know where we need to go.
I don't. I think I'm going to make my email tagline therapist with a spreadsheet.
That's good.
That's all. That's how I'm going to close that out.
That's a mic drop. So
Yes.
So I guess it's time for us to transition to our last part, right?
Yes.
And
ready?
Hey, get this. Christy totally failed on me last episode with this. So
you know what? I did not. I tried. I was trying my best, but Sarah has a lot to live up to, Jeff. It wasn't really fair of you to put me in that position.
So it is time for
rapid fire. All right, guys. I got some questions for you. All right. What is your go-to form of procrastination?
Ooh, that is a really good question. For me, it's those open tabs. I have a lot of to-dos. So I'm like, I need to purchase this, I need to do that. And I just leave the open tab. And I'm like, I'll know I'm done when I can exit out of all those tabs. I've done those tasks, and I'm a new mom, I have a toddler. So it's like things for my toddler, things for the house, things for my husband, all that type of stuff. And I'm like, when I have all those million tabs open and everything starts going slower, I'm like, okay, I need to probably do some of these things because I have 1,000 tabs open and that's not.
Yes. Okay. What about you? Yep. You go back and forth.
I think for me, it's travel research. And I do that. That's what gets me really. But then like she said, I try to research a lot on travels, and then I realize that I don't have the money in my bank. So I'm like, come back to work.
Right? Nice. You can dream and then come back. Yes, I get it.
Good.
No, it's good. All right. Text or phone call?
So
Phone call.
Well, I joke as a recruiter, it should be phone call, but text all the way.
Nice.
I mean, my mother has gone on to me over the years. She was like, you don't like talking on the phone. I'm like, exactly. I do it for work a lot. Can we just text? It's so much easier for me because I'm on the phone all the time.
I hear you. See, that's good. That's good. All right. If you got paid $1 million a year, what is your dream job?
Want me to go first, Kay?
I think I would still want to be in human resources. This is something that I love doing.
Wow.
So even if I get $1 million, I would not like to change my job for sure.
Nice. Okay.
I'm going to use it somewhere else. Yeah. Maybe I'll take more.
I love that for Kay, but mine is absolutely animal rescue. I am very passionate about animals. I would open an animal rescue. I would try to save all the animals that I could, dogs, cats, all the other different kinds of animals. I'm just very passionate. I've always loved animals. I wanted to be a vet when I was little. And if I could just have that amount of money, you better believe they would have the fanciest, nicest little rescue you would imagine.
I love it. I love it.
Really good.
Okay. I have a new kind of question for you, and we'll end it with this. What's your go-to fake laugh?
I already know mine. Is that bad?
Do it. Let's hear it.
Do it.
My friends call me out because I'll look, and sorry, listeners, you can't see it, but I'll look like I'm laughing, but there's not a lot of noise. I'm like there's not a lot of noise, but my face is showing laughter because I'm awkward and I don't know what to do. That's my awkward laugh. I'm like it's not very loud, but it looks like a laugh.
Nice. I love it.
I'm usually very straight faced, so I'll probably just smile and move forward.
I would wave.
You don't even you don't even give the chuckle.
You know what you get with Kay. That's what I love about it. You know what you're getting.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, thank you guys so very much again for being on today. Jeff has left it up to me to wrap this up. So thank you everyone for listening to our episode today. We super appreciate you. If you guys have any questions, comments, or episode ideas for us, please email us at podcast@cckcpa.com. We really would love to hear from you. Special thanks to CCK Everyday. Thank you for letting us do this amazing podcast. It is our most favorite thing to do. Thank you, KP, for keeping us on the straight and narrow, always and forever. Thanks to my wonderful husband, Robert, for making our intro and outro music. And thank you to Clarence with Tulsa Internet Marketing Services. He's our, how does Jeff say it? Our sage and guide.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then thank you to Emily for just everything that you couldn't even think about. She thinks about it all and executes it so amazingly.
Well said,
we thank
Sarah.
Thank her so very much for that. And we just look forward to you guys joining us next time as you listen to these two CPAs and you get to find out who's on the mic.
The information provided on this podcast is for general informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute accounting, tax, legal, or financial advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, laws and regulations change and individual circumstances vary. Always consult with a qualified CPA or professional advisor before making any financial or business decisions. The views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any organizations they are affiliated with. Listening to this podcast does not create a client-accountant relationship. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge and agree to those terms. And that's a wrap for this episode of Two CPAs in the Mic. If you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Have questions or ideas for a topic? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at podcast@cckcpa.com.